everybody, happy Friday. This is Overpass Live. My name is Eric and I make apps. So this is a weekly live stream where we talk about whatever we want to talk about. We just chat about, developer stuff. Where the regular videos I do, it could be about something a bit more high level. It could be about working with clients. Usually on this live stream, we just answer questions and I do no preparations and I do no research, and it's just I'm just a moron. I just pay attention to the information that passes in front of me, and we just have a chat here. So this week for me has been busy. It's been like one of those. It's been a busy week. It just seems like it just rushed by. I had a few client meetings that I went to go to, and those went okay. I had a few projects that I had to finish off. I had just. You know what it's like when the whole week goes by really, really quickly, and it's difficult because a lot of the clients just incoming work, just all kinds of stuff. People are kind of wrapping up for Christmas, and they got that Christmas mentality, and you're just like, gotta get, you're just trying to get things done, trying to get things finished, but people are just sort of winding down. You can't get a client on the phone, you can't get questions answered, that kind of stuff, and I guess that's just the way it is. Things are just slow this time of year all over the place. And in the UK, I think we have like a triple threat in terms of just slow business, where we have Brexit, which has been looming for the last year. It's been looming for the last 4 years, but the last year has been really, everyone's kind of like wait and see. But now that we have that election, so the other thing was the election, which we had yesterday, and then it's Christmas. So we got three things looming. So just this time of month, it's like you just expect things to be slow, but that's okay. At least with the apps should be doing better. For those of you guys who have apps out there on the app market, you should be having a better time with that. And one of the things I'd like to talk about a little bit today, because it keeps coming up, is everybody, like I keep getting emails from people about about their apps not being ranked on Google Play. It seems like Google Play ranking over the last couple months has just gotten really, really weird, and I've been doing some research. I can't find any reason why. Anyway, so let me just start by saying hello to everybody. Hussein Gokas is the first one here. Hey, how's it going? Brahma Apps, hey, how are you? Lufia, hi fans. Hey, Lufia, how are you? Azabeth, say, hey Eric, Brexit is on. How does this affect your business, since you always mention it as if it could impact your business? That's a good question, Azabeth. I think, you know what, it's not so much that Brexit is going to, because every time I would talk about it, it depends on where you fall on it. It's like one of those really contentious issues where people either say, you're being afraid of nothing, like Y2K, or this could actually be like a real serious thing. And for me, it's really just because there hasn't been a decision yet. That's the one thing. Like once there's a decision, like when Brexit happens, I think everything will be fine. I don't think it's going to be like the end of the world. I think everything will be fine. But if it didn't happen, everything would be fine too. It's just the not knowing. Like if I did a lot of import-export business to the European continent, then that would probably affect me. But so far it hasn't. My big fear on Brexit, well, the two things. First of all, that clients will stop spending, like the hold off thing. We want to see what's going to happen before we invest in something like an app or any bit of technology. That's the one thing. The other thing would be the pound being devalued. So because I pay offshore developers, then if the pound drops, which it did after the referendum, 4 years ago, whenever it was, 2016, when we did the referendum, that the value of the pound really dropped, and it has a pluses and minuses. Like if the pound drops, it means it's cheaper to buy UK goods, so we get more tourism, we get more, foreign clients and stuff like that. But everything we have to buy that's imported, which is like a lot of things, and even when I pay the developers, that goes up in price because the pound is weaker compared to the dollar and other currencies. So, but yeah, that's kind of what. So that's more what I'm concerned with. So the fact that it's on, I'm not so worried about that. I just do something. I think that's why the conservatives won by the majority. I think it's just because people were like, dude, just do something, get it done. No more uncertainty. We don't want, like, another referendum would be more uncertainty and stuff like that. But again, I did not vote because I'm not a British citizen. I'm an American citizen. So, I'm kind of on this weird situation where I'm it affects me, but it's not my decision kind of thing. I don't think I could vote. I never even looked into it over the last 20 years. Fist 007, hey, how's it going? Appavelli, yo, happy Friday, Appavelli. And again, once again, check out Appavelli on Instagram. Let's see. What's your Fist 007 says, what's that Yo Mama thing? I was trying to write it, but I messed it up. So I was trying to think of something to write up here to be clever and cute and everything. And I thought, Yo Mama. So that was like when I was in 6th grade, 5th, 6th grade. That was a big thing in the mid 80s, where everybody started saying Yo Mama, and it was Yo Mama jokes and everything like that. And now my kids keep saying that, Yo Mama. And for some reason, it just always makes me laugh. Even to this day, even as a grown man, I can't not laugh at that when somebody says it. Especially, like, okay, so I was in a client meeting this week, and I'm just sitting there. It's all kind of very serious. And I'm just thinking, if I just said Yo Mama, right, that would just be like if I had a friend with me, I would just like to just throw in a Yo Mama there just to see how would like everybody get all serious and everything. But so two things still make me laugh after all these years, which is Yo Mama said in the complete wrong context, or like in complete inappropriate moments, or farting. Farting just it's never not funny. So I thought I'd write that up there today. Cord Funk is here. Hey, Cord Funk. Adam Major, how's it going? Lufia. The name was already taken. Let's see. A quick question: How long does it usually take an app to be accepted to the Google Play Store, to the Google Store? It's been 4 days since I uploaded the app and still nothing. So usually it should take 2 or 3 days. And in fact, they say that on the it used to take just a couple hours. And if you do an update, it's usually a few hours. But now it takes a few days. And if it takes longer than that, it's because I think it's probably something. Check to make sure you have a privacy policy. That's what I would do, because every time I've got caught on that, it's been something to do with the privacy policy. Something saying my target audience was either too low, or the privacy policy doesn't. So then I have to go do the privacy policy and then save it again, and it goes through like that. But if there's like a delay, in my experience, it's been because you got something wrong with your privacy policy, and it's probably what it is it's gone through, and there's some algorithm that says, hey, this needs to be manually checked, and then there's probably a queue for somebody to manually check it. Because I think most of the time it could probably check that. So, Lufia says, did you develop anything in Flutter? So we have an app that we're doing in Flutter, but I haven't done it myself. I keep opening up the Flutter console and keep starting things. I keep going through. I haven't done it. I haven't done a lot of development on my own for a while. I had an argument with the developer over the past week where I've just been like angry. I woke up at 2 o'clock this morning because I was angry about one developer thousands of miles away, because I had to check his code and I had to fix his bugs, and he had months to work on it, and I just was like in like an hour was able to just go, dude, why is this wrong? Like, this is how it should be, this is how that should be and everything. But for the most part, like when I'm coding something, it's usually at the end, tweaking things, bug fixing things. Like the client might come back and say, we need some logic changed or whatever. So I'll go through, look through the code, see how we could change it, make sure everything's coded to a certain way. But I'm like, it's like the least fun part of it. It's like at the very end, just going through and crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Sometimes I'll just go through, like, look at functions and go, okay, I'll put some comments in there just so they make sense. And so, but I mean, not that I can't develop. I mean, back in my day, Lufia, back in the day, I was quite the developer. Young, ambitious, go-getter. But now I'm just doing a lot of, just bug fixing and stuff. A good example. Yeah, a client comes back, says, we notice that when we click on this one thing, it happens on a certain phone. So I could give that to the developers, and they could go, it works for me. Which sometimes I expect the argument I'm going to get is like, oh, it works on my phone, or it works on all our test devices. So let me look into it, because not getting anywhere that way. So sometimes I'll be going through and just doing all this stuff, and sometimes the experience part of it is just being able to know the kind of problems you've had before, even though like we've got this one. So the thing I was upset about was we had this bug that we've had it for months. I mean, it's been holding the project back. And the developer's like, I don't know what to do. It works for me. I don't understand what it is, right? So it's like, and it was like taking it, like there was an existing application and we're just rewriting it, right? So we had the old code. So all we had to do was look at the old code. But the developer, I can't figure it out. I have no idea what it is. Just, go back to the client, tell the client they're doing it wrong, right? So finally, like last week, I go through the code. I go through the old code myself and the new code, and it wasn't like, and I was just saying, here's why. See what the old code did this, and the new code doesn't do that, and that's the reason why it's not working. And they're going, oh, we're not really looking at the old code, and then I lost it. And I was like, we had all these meetings and everything. I'm going off on a tangent here, not asking the Flutter questions, but no, I have not finished the Flutter project. I just do a lot of tinkering around with it, and I keep starting stuff, and then I end up handing it off to somebody else. Let's see. UK Bass says no one knows how Brexit will affect anything. I know we don't. We could talk about it's going to be, it's either going to be really good, really bad, or nothing. That covers everything, right? Yeah, nobody really knows. Mark Curtis retracted his message. Hey Mark, how's it going? Azimuth PH says thank you for answering. No problem. Chord Funk says, yo, all right. Chord Funk. I'm gonna say this in the best voice I can. Your mama's so fat that a recursive function calculating her mass causes a Stack Overflow. Only your mama joke I know. That's the only one you know. Let's see. P3CGOV3L. I can't believe that name was still available. Said, do you try BuildBox? I think we looked at that last time, and I've never done it. I haven't done any of those, like, where you don't need to code type of platforms. I think we looked at it last week or the week before, or a couple weeks ago, and it's something I've never tried, and to me it looks like Game Salad or one of those other ones, or Appy Pie. I could be wrong, but no, I haven't done anything like that. Patrick Chariot says, hi Eric, can you make a video on my app revenue? It's been so long since you made that video. We could do it here if you want. So let's have a look at my app revenue. Okay, so this is one of the reasons I talk about my app revenue is it's really, I would say it's really bad. I'm gonna share my screen here in a minute. So yeah, Patrick, we can do my app revenue right now. You know what the nice thing about the live stream is if I mess up, I don't have to start again. I can't start again. I just have to let it go. I did a video today for tomorrow, and it might look like it's all done in one take, and most of the time it is, but it might be 4 or 5 times where I mess up saying something and I'll go, oh, I want to say that again, and I'll do it again. The nice thing about the live stream is we could just do it straight off the bat and be terrified that I'm going to say the wrong thing. Oh, there we go, my daily revenue report. So this is the daily revenue. So this is what I'm making so far in December. So that's gone up a little bit, but not much. So for we don't have the iTunes stuff here. So can you see that? We don't have the iTunes stuff here, but we got AdMob has been consistent. I can't tell you how many impressions there were and everything like that, because that would be giving away the RPM. But that's pretty much what we do. And this is losing the big application. So again, I say this all the time, but Ear Agent was suspended, and then I released it again as Ear Assist, and then the Pro version was suspended, and then I just removed the free version. So that's without that. That was like the big thing on there. So this is what's coming in, just sort of trickling in. I try to make myself feel better, where it's like, if I got a part-time job, that's probably what I would be making, and I'm not, but before it was like, that's like a full-time income. So if I go back so August it was suspended. So you can see here, 99, 82, and then this is where it was suspended right in the first few days of August. But if I go back to July of this year, and again, December should be the big month. July, it was like 130, and so these were like the good numbers where Ear Agent was. You can see what a big impact it has. So it's dropped a lot just recently, which is, if I seem like I'm down, it's because of that. I think I've got I've got app performance anxiety or something like that. I feel like, oh God, oh man, I used to, in my younger days, and I just have to get the apps out there. So one of the things, the client work takes up so much time, but it's good because the client work pays the bills and it does all the stuff that it needs to do. But I've got, I've been working on my bubble bath game. So the thing is, they've been removed from Apple, and they were making a lot from Apple. So if I show you my app revenue from like 2 years ago, before Apple started to say, nope, you got to 4.3, you got to combine all these into one single application, and I was like, I'm not doing that. That's stupid. That's unfair. That's just ridiculous. So I just swear not to do it. So finally, and it's like 2 hours here, a couple hours here. I started to work on my bubble bath games, so I can have the one consolidated game for all of them, and hopefully it'll be done soon. But when you start doing that, you realize you're missing artwork, you're missing, different types of stuff. So, I'm sorry. So that's where I am. So anyway, Patrick, that's my app revenue. Sorry, my phone keeps ringing. Let's go back to lower third. So, let's see. Mara94 so SRB. Hey there. How's it going? I've been trying to find the information on the percentage of users that upgrade from free to paid app version. Thanks in advance. I'd love to hear what you know about this topic. I only know from what I experience on my applications, and it's really small. I have a client who, and one of my clients, she's like, we released the app, and it's a free version. I think she was surprised at how she's not getting all the paid versions, or how few people are actually upgrading. But let me see if I can find that stat here on my Play console, and then I can show you what I have. Because for me, I think it's like 2%. I'm going to show some stats from a few months ago. I'm going to show some stats from when my big app was actually working, right? Because now it's been I've removed it. Actually, let's see. Just give me a second here. So what I want to do is show you that because it's a better indicator of a success. Well, one of my successful app and how that's done. So let's go to. And you find out actually one of the good things you could look at, Mara, sorry, is looking at the acquisition reports. Let's go to share my screen again. So here's the user acquisition report for EarSpy or Ear Assist, and it's ages ago because, like I said, I removed it. But let's go to July when I was in my heyday. Let's go back into the good old days of July. So you can see here I would have of the people actually visited the store, only 24% of people were downloading it. So so for this week in July, 35,000 people were actually looking at the application. 24.7% were downloading it. Of those downloaders, only 0.2% were actually making the in-app purchases, and 5 of them were actually making the in-app purchases. However, so one of the things that skews this is I did have a link to the paid version of the application too, which is so some people could just go straight to the full version, but that's kind of, so we're looking at a 0.2% install rate, but it's going to be different from all different apps. Like what I was offering may not have been compelling to people, or maybe a lot of my users were just, they were younger, or they were in other countries and all that kind of stuff. So, and that's on the Play Store. If you look at the App Store, I think on the App Store it works a lot better. I wish my low download figures. I feel like I'm embarrassed to show you guys. I am embarrassed to show you guys. I feel like I'm embarrassed to show you. But I'll get it back. 2020 is going to be my year. I'm going to get those apps back on. I'm going to get back, get some new stuff out there. So, anyway. So, you guys, just to be completely open and honest with you, that's the way it looks. Bart Raka says, Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday, Bart. Anyone else notice the Apple approval times seem to be super fast of late? Submitted in mid-morning. It was already approved less than 10 hours later. I've noticed that. It's been really cool. Yeah, it's like, it's really super fast. It's like Apple and Google have switched sides. They seem to do that from time to time. Remember when I remember when Apple could have like 255 characters in the title and Google only had 30, and then they swapped where Apple went to 50 characters and Google went to 50 characters and Apple went to 30. So like sometimes it's just weird the way they behave. But yeah, it's like they switch places there. Hussein Gokas says, do you add custom solutions for notch screens when developing applications? Oh, custom solutions. No, you just use the stuff that's within the application. So, no, I haven't done anything custom. And most frameworks and stuff, because the notch. And I assume what you mean by the notched applications. I assume you mean like the iPhone 10, iPhone 11, those kind of things, right? So you have the little thing at the top. That's what you're talking about, right? I don't do anything custom for that. So, like I said, because it's so mainstream now. I think everybody does it. I mean, most frameworks have it. Apavelli says, "Thanks for the shout out. I also have a podcast called Wired with Apavelli." Really, dude, I'm embarrassed by how little I'm producing. All right, next year. So yeah, it's time to start thinking about New Year's resolutions, and now I gotta find out what Apavelli's doing. My New Year's resolution is to do better than Apavelli, do more content than Apavelli. In 2020, I would like to interview other indie devs and allow them to promote their apps. That would be cool. I think that would be nice. That's one thing that people always said to me. I should interview other developers, and I think I just never did. It's like there's too much going on. I think one of my New Year's resolutions, I think it was in 2018, was I was gonna do interviews. I'm gonna like schedule interviews. I'm gonna get Rowena to find some people we can interview, and we'll do interviews on the channel. And we did one with Steve P. Young, and it was so difficult just to get it scheduled, and his internet was slow, and mine was he was not ready and everything. And I thought usually we just switched on the camera and record the videos, but yeah, I kind of think that too, Apavelli, just doing some more of that kind of stuff. Fist 007 says, "I got a serious question for you, Eric. I got a serious question for you." Okay, all right, I'm ready. Why don't you switch to Xamarin? One code base, native performance, and Microsoft class tooling. It works like a charm. I think the only reason I haven't is because it feels like okay, so when I started getting into apps in 2012, like when I started in 2013, everything out, Xamarin was the first thing I looked at. I was a C# developer, and C# and JavaScript, and I thought Xamarin sounded like the perfect thing. So I started going through it, and it was at the time it wasn't called Xamarin, it was called Monotouch, I think. I can't remember what it was, but then it was Xamarin, and it was expensive. It was like $1,000 a year, which and so I didn't go with that. I started looking into Ionic and PhoneGap and all that stuff. I started going down that route, and then I got gone off on those, and then doing native Android and everything like that, to where it's like I missed the boat. Now that Xamarin is free, that makes more sense. And Xamarin seems to be it seems to have okay, so if I look at job boards, which on my so all right, here's a little admission to you guys. So I did start looking at contracts and stuff, thinking maybe I'll take on a contract, and then I snap out of it because it's like I just when you're feeling low and you start looking like maybe I'll just take on a contract for 3 to 6 months and just leave Overpass ticking away in the background and then come back to it. But so I know it's popular because I've been looking at the job boards. I know it's popular, and I'm not going to take on I decided not to take on a contract because I wouldn't be able to. I've got so much to do already. But so at the moment, Xamarin is very popular with a lot of companies, especially because they're .NET houses. They're looking for Xamarin developers, so that's really cool. React Native, for some reason, seems to be hugely popular at the moment. I keep getting contacted about React Native jobs. Hey, so React Native seems to be really big. Ionic, kind of, but it seems to be React Native seems to be a lot of businesses looking for that at the moment. Not so much Flutter, but there's a couple Flutter contracts out, a couple Flutter jobs I've noticed out there. But Xamarin is still a big one, and I think Fist 007, it would just be, I would have to. I think it would just be I'd have to stop everything I know, and then I'd have to like relearn that side of things, and maybe it's worth doing. I don't know, because I did have somebody come to me. We did have one client that came to us, and we quoted him in Flutter. We did all the analysis, everything, quoted him in Flutter, and he says, he was a .NET developer, so he wanted to do it. He wanted the app done in Xamarin, and I couldn't find a Xamarin developer. So it was like in the end we just passed on it. We said, and it was something. If you're doing something for a developer, it's difficult because they could be really critical of things like that, and almost like having another chef. Like if you're a chef and a chef hires you, you're thinking like it's going to be difficult because he might be criticizing every little thing you do. Whereas if you're a chef and you work for like a normal people, you're providing a lot of service and not I'm just petering out. It's been a long week. Mega Man 2016 is 26. Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah. By the way. Let's see. What is it? Fist Level 7 said, bug fixing others' code is the hardest field of software development. It is. Well, it's. I think so. Like my anger this week at this one developer wasn't so much that he had bugs in his code, because we all have bugs in our code. I mean, that's not true. There's things that that slip through. Like we don't intentionally do it. We're like, you write buggy code. Like we try our best. We test everything we can. We make sure everything goes through, and it goes on a certain device and it doesn't work. But he was arguing with me like, it's on my the client is doing it wrong. So it was just really difficult. But yeah, it is difficult when you have to go in there and do it, because it's like you're cleaning somebody else's room when you're bug fixing somebody else's code. You're like going in there going, dude, what have you done here? What is, how do you find anything? Which is, so then you have to go through and start cleaning things up, with the bin bags, structuring the code, making sure everything looks good before it goes to the client. It's a bit difficult. Mark Curtis says, thank vote today. Hope this helps us with a Brexit solution for all us. Happy Christmas and prosperity to all men and women around the world. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I hope it does. I hope things do get better now that we got something. I mean, it can only get better. I think 2020 is going to be a really good year. Eric Jasoki says, hey Eric, I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see you too, Eric. So let's see. Lufia says, okay. Thanks for your elaborate answer. I'm going for some dinner now. Okay. Julio Cruz, hey Eric. Oh, by the way, hey, you know what? I was thinking about this. I was I was watching a live stream the other day. I was watching CoffeeZilla's live stream or premiere, whatever it was, and I watch all the comments go through, and I'm one of those people who just sits in silence and doesn't leave comments. I'm just not a comment person, mainly because I don't know what to say. Right? I don't have any questions, and I'm just going to sit in the background. And I'm the same way with birthday cards. Whenever there's like an office birthday and they send the card around saying, hey, do you want to sign Susan's card? And you go, okay. And you're just like, I can't think of anything clever to say. So I just write happy birthday in the corner, like way over in the corner. Even if I'm the first one to sign it, like in the corner, because, I can't think of anything clever or anything like that to say. So I just say, happy birthday, Eric, right? So I'm not a commenter, and I admire all you guys who comment. But for those of you guys who are watching now and are not commenters, right? I want you to go ahead, and if you haven't commented on the live stream ever, and you're not a live stream commenter, go ahead and put in the comments, yo mama. Everybody do it. It'll make me laugh every time. So let's see. Okay, here we go. By the way, when you write the Revenez, when you put the Yo Mama jokes in there, Google's blocking it for some reason. I don't know why, but it's a good one. Yo Mama is so fat that Google reached the quantum supremacy just to computer BMI. Nice. Yao Johnny's here. Hey, how's it going, Yao Johnny? March 1st, 261. Mar 1261. How can you put ads on your app? Damn, feels bad. How can you say how can you like, or how can you like like how on earth can you put ads in your app? Why would you do that? Is it like, why would you do that? Or is it like, how could you do it? Like, what do? I don't know how to do it. So I think you mean the second way, that damn feels bad. I totally agree with you. Like, nobody wants to put ads in their app. So when you meet somebody who says, like, there's some apps out there where people they might see one of my videos and say, oh, he's making money with apps. Why don't we, we'll do the same thing. So we'll release something really simple and then slap AdMob in there. And then the app is not so much an app, but it's more of an ad delivery mechanism. And you see that, I mean, it's the same way with television. Some television shows are, it's a really good story, but they use ads in order to pay the bills so that they could keep it free. And some television shows, that they're just there for the ads. They're just there to fill airtime and put ads out there. And I think it's the same with apps, right? Nobody who's interested in the usability of their apps and their put all this work into it, and you want to do something where people see it and go, hey, that's really cool. Hey, I really like this. Hey, you got to check out this app. Nobody wants to spend all that work to make something that's really, really good and then have an ugly ad in the middle of it or an interstitial that pops up, right? Nobody does. But it's a monetization method, right? If there was a better way to do it, we would do it. If we could just say, I don't understand why everybody doesn't just give me $1, right? Who downloads it? Well, because they don't. They don't have $1, or they're not that interested, or there's a free alternative just like one click away. So it is difficult, and I totally get you. Like, and when I have a client that says, and in fact, it's most clients say, yeah, I don't really want to put ads in this app. And I totally get it. I totally understand, because it's, it's your thing. It's your baby. It's your stuff. Let's see. Yao Johnny says, hi, Eric. What's the average yearly salary of a full-time app developer get paid in your country? By the way, are you currently staying in the UK or US? So I'm in the UK at the moment. So I've been living in the UK for the last 20 years. I'm a US citizen. So I do plan on going back to the US eventually. So that's why I keep my citizenship up. Still do my tax returns and all that kind of stuff. And I've never taken the British citizenship test. Not because I think it's just, I got other stuff to do. So I haven't done that yet. And I wonder sometimes if I should, because, Overpass is a British company. I've got all this legacy here and everything. Like, would it be strange if I went back to the States and I had to like pick up where I left off, like working in a Super 8 motel as a graduate, and it was like, had to leave everything else behind. But no, hopefully I could do that. But what's the average yearly salary of a full-time app developer? So a full-time app, I think it's about £40,000 to £60,000 a year if you're going full-time. As a contractor, it's a lot more. So yeah, I haven't taken a permanent like full-time job like as an employee since 2003. That was the last time I was an employee. I've been a contractor ever since. Now, as a contractor, you could go for there are contracts out there for £200 a day or £300 a day, or you could even, if you're like highly skilled, you could go for £500, £600, or £700 a day. So some of them are £700 a day, but you got to really know your stuff and be on top of everything. Right now, so the highest I was paid, and this was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was at a £500 a day rate. So, and it was like, so you're looking at, I was like £110 a year or something like that. But I didn't have medical. I didn't have any, it was, I had to keep my skills up so that if I lost my job, like there was no guarantee that I was going to, I had no pension. So I had no pension. I'd do my own pension scheme. I had no medical insurance, but it's on the NHS, so it wasn't something I didn't really worry so much about. But it was more, once I did that, it made me feel a lot better about taking things into my own hands. Like it was, some people would say stuff like, I remember having a conversation with somebody about being a contractor, saying I was leaving that contract and I was going to go find another contract. But thanks, I had loads of money saved up. Like I wanted to spend some time working on Overpass is really what I wanted to do. So, but she was saying like, oh, it's very risky to do that. It's very risky being a contractor. I would do that, but I've got like a mortgage like she didn't have any kids. She didn't have any, but she had a mortgage. And I was like, dude, I got like 3 kids and I got a mortgage and I've got all this stuff, but it's, you're just, when I was looking at somebody in a permanent job, I was looking at the fact that they were that they thought they had a safety net, and I completely lost faith in the fact that somebody else was going to take care of me. Because I think my last full-time job, the last job as an employee, they really treated people bad. I mean, and it sounds so petty to say that because you hear that again and again. You know what the problem is with this place? Communication's awful in this place. I hate working here, blah blah blah. But they stay there for years and years, and I was kind of the same. I was like, but when they did, as soon as I left, and it wasn't because I left, but right after I left, they closed down their offices and moved to London, and then all these people were made redundant, and it was like, hey, you're important to us until you aren't, and then it's like that, and you see it all the time. Every time I would see in the news like a bunch of people carrying boxes out of a building, and they're not skilled enough to find another job. They're not marketable. They're just they've become complacent. Then I think that's sad, and it is scary. So taking on a contract where I was really well paid and I had this nest egg going was more like, I felt better about that than if I had like a full-time employee job. And that's one of the reasons why I became a contractor. And at first it was really scary. It was really scary when I started, but that was kind of how that went. And you're always thinking about, when you're a contractor, you're going to be out of work. Like you know the date. This contract goes until February 20th, right? So before February 20th, I have to start looking. I have to start finding another contract, or if I have a little bit of money saved up, maybe I could take a holiday or take some time off work. But you're not sure if you're going to find anything else. So it's not really a vacation. You're still kind of like, you don't want to spend too much money just in case it's harder to find something than before. And you take that time and do that. But you're always thinking about, what skills do I need to know in order to get a job? What's popular at the moment? And again, when people ask what kind of language they should learn, that's the thing to ask. It's like, if your goal is to get a job, you should look for what's popular or what people are looking for. If it's not, then if it's to do your own stuff, then look for which technology you like to do. Like if you're producing your own applications, and if it's both, then do both. So anyway, so that was a long answer. I don't even think I answered your question. That was the yearly salary. How about that for a tangent? Renevez says, Eric, you can make it. You rock. Thank you very much. Mara says, thanks for your response about purchases. No problem. Roman Sissick says, hey, Eric, I have an app that's targeted towards technical people interested in Android. I have minimal downloads. Is my store listing so terrible, or am I targeting too tiny a niche? Boog Jagger app. Okay. I don't know what that meant. So Bug Jagger. Sorry. Boog. Let's see, share a screen here. So we're looking at this one for Roman Sissick, I think. Bootjagger mobile app. Bootjagger. Is this the one? If you could just say if this is the one. I'm not sure if I'm looking. I just want to make sure that if I'm looking at the right one. Roman. So Bootjagger. So I'm assuming it's this one. So dump logs. You know what? All right. I told you there's 3 things that make me laugh. Yo mama, farting, and it's the term dump logs, because it can mean so many things. So dump logs, show processes, show hidden info, run shell scripts, manage apps, push pull, create, dissect apps. So here we go. So Bugjagger mobile ADB, develop and debug via USB OTG. Well, that is technical. But so you've got 5,000 plus installs. Oh yeah, Roman Sissick. So this is your app. So 5,000 plus installs, 4.3 rating, which is good. Bugjagger. I hope am I saying the name of Bugjagger? Tries to give you the expert tools used by Android developers for better control and deep understanding of your Android internals. Multi-tool can save you. This sounds really useful. If you're an Android power user, developer, geek, something for you. How to use. All right, so what we're so let's have a look at. I want what you said is it's targeted towards mobile developers and Androids. I have minimal downloads in my store listing so terrible. I don't think the store listing is that bad. It's a weird icon. Well, it's a weird icon and it's a weird name, but I think the name is good because if you're establishing your own brand, it's good to have that. Let's look at App Annie and have a look at the ASO side of that. So you can see my screen, right? All right, let's have a look at. And keywords in ASO. So I'm just wondering, like, see, it seems like more technical than me. So I'm wondering, like, if I would find it. So debugger looks good. Oh, debugger, you 19 for debug. Oh, let's go to United States. Mobile ADB tool looks good. Fast boot. So ADB shell. DB logger, enabler. I think it looks good. I'm wondering, like, if these are the keywords that you're, so developer, debug via USB. So everybody watching the stream, you might see this stuff and think it does. And if you're ranking for the words you want and you're getting the traffic, if we look at the acquisition report, what I'm thinking is, right now we say dump logs, show processes, show hidden info, but I'm wondering, and this is an idea, if you were able to put something like the ultimate developer tool, like, so if I had this installed, like if I was looking for specifically for this, I would see the what this means, and that would make sense to me, all this kind of stuff. But it also could be something where you're appealing to the fact that you're not a real developer unless you have BugJagger installed, if I'm pronouncing that right. So the power, it's like the power tool for Android developers, right? It's almost like you have a secret weapon that other developers don't have. Like you have this with BugJagger, you could see things that other developers couldn't see. You could solve problems quicker. You could deliver faster. You could do all that stuff. So we're talking about the benefits as opposed to the features, which is just some ideas to do. But it depends. So it depends on whether or not they're reaching this page. If they're not reaching this page and you're not getting the page views, so I'll go back to my acquisition report here. If you're not getting the store listing visitors at a reasonable number, then we have to look at how people are finding it and the search terms that they're finding. And if you have like any reasonable, like if after you have a certain amount of traffic, they have the thing where you could go through and see the organic searches here and click through and see what people are actually finding, and you can start targeting those a little bit more. But otherwise, if they are getting the store listed visitors and then this number is small, then we'll look at those screenshots and see how that works, if that makes any sense. So I'm just scrolling down to make sure that answers the question, I hope. All right. Harem Panchal says, M30 got some knowledge from YouTube and made some simple games. I don't have any certificate. Can I get a job as a Unity developer? I think you probably could. I think it's what I would do. I'd see if I were to hire somebody who was self-taught and released a few simple games. I think if I was hiring for like as a job, I'd want to see code samples. So if you have like well-documented code samples, because a lot of times you get better as a developer, like working with other developers, because you get more disciplined. And we all know, like when I think probably every one of us when we started, we would write code that just like would embarrass you now. It was like, one big spaghetti code, no functions, no nothing, just one big line of stuff. But and then you start to evolve. You start working with other developers. You see how they work. What's the best way to do it? Why would you group things in a certain way? Why do you use design patterns? Why do you use all this kind of stuff? And what's the benefit of all of it? But you could always apply. You could always apply for a job, right? You might not get when you want to get a senior developer position, but you probably get something that's a junior developer. I mean, a lot of companies would love to get somebody who's smart and switched on and could learn as they go. I told you guys how I got my job as a software developer. My first job, it was like the only reason I became a software developer was because that's what I was hired to do. My degree when I moved out to the UK back in 1998, I just got my degree in history. I was going to be a history teacher, and that was what I was going to do. But then it was American history. The certification didn't come over. I came over, no job, worked in a factory for a couple months, and applied for everything. And then Barclays Capital in London, this big investment bank. They sent me an invite to go to some open evening because, whatever. I took this test. And then so I went in there and I was total fish out of water. I wore a suit that was from a charity shop or a thrift store that cost me £8, and I went in there and I was floored the next day when I found out they made me an offer for that job, right? And then it was like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? Now I need to learn this stuff, right? But it's I went in as a trainee, and it wasn't so much that I thought I'm a trainee so they're going to understand if I don't know something. That was not my mentality at all. My mentality was I need to learn this stuff fast, otherwise they're going to fire me, right? And that was just like, I read everything. I read every book that I could borrow. I was, I couldn't afford to buy the expensive computer books because I still was, didn't have enough money saved up. So I was, doing a lot of checking books out from the library. They had this learning library there. I was checking those out, but just getting up to speed with it. So yeah, you probably don't. If you could get onto that first, like on the lower end of that ladder, Hiram, then you probably could. But if you're but you have to be a hard worker. Like you have to be like really doing that, and then you get to the point where you're, like I said, you can either stay at the same level or you keep trying to grow and grow and grow. And when I was looking at when I look at contracts and stuff, some of the people looking for those contracts are just, they're just normal guys. They just learn what they learn. They do what they do. And there's some people in there who are beasts. Like they're just, they're all the unit tests. They're all the, and they're into it. They're like professionals. They take that stuff seriously. And, and that's, and you could be one of those guys too. But you have to start somewhere. But if you get somebody to pay you to do it, that's the better. YS6425. Hi, hey, how's it going? Let's see. Haram says 2B Games is my indie company. Please tell me, can I get a job as a Unity developer? Am Indian, age 30, and no certification. Yeah. So yeah, I think if you go if you're gonna do something, like I said, if you're gonna work at a company, apply. Right? Don't think about it. Just apply. Apply to every company. If they say no, they say no. Right? You've done a CV and you sent it out, and then just keep doing it. Right? Eventually, you might get somebody who says yes. Courtfolk says, "You catch the Flutter Interact talks? Any thoughts?" I have not. No, when was that this week? Was that this week? I've just been. I feel like I haven't. Even the election, I haven't even been following that. Not really sure. God, what's going on? No, I haven't. Was it good? YS6425 says, I have a big, broad question. Okay, hit me. How can I get guidance in how to prepare a proposal for a new client, app development and marketing? So how can you get guidance how to prepare a proposal? So I would show you one of my proposals, except I don't have any that don't have client information in them. I have a template that I use. So for me, let me tell you something here. YS6425. It rolls off the tongue. Like when I was first doing client work and I was working with offshore developers, I had this idea that I would just get like all these different contacts and I would when somebody came to me with a job, I would just send it to everybody, and I would just go with the cheapest price, right? And I did that like once or twice, where somebody came to me with the price, and I went to like I had like 5 or 6 different Indian companies, a few Chinese companies, so I did that, and I sent to all these these Indian companies, and most of them will come back and with a price, or like in an email saying, here's what we'll do, like a bullet point or like whatever. And the first time I'd ever seen somebody come back with a template, like it was a 30-page document. Now most of it was boilerplate. Most of it was, why choose us, all that kind of stuff. But it looked very much like it was prepared for me, and it looked much more professional to get something back that looked like we do this kind of stuff all the time. Where all the other development companies, it felt like they were just winging it, right? And they just sent it. And again, I work with development companies now that still do the same thing. Like they'll send a Skype message saying, "Oh, we think it will cost this much," or whatever. It's like, okay, well, but then other ones is like like a full proposal. So that's what I do. I have a template. It's like, so we got all the terms and conditions in there. We have all that stuff, and then the different sections. So we go in and fill them in. So we got the cover page, the version history, because there's going to be changes. So you're going to do that proposal, and they're going to come back and say, it's a bit too expensive, or now that we've been thinking about, can we add this? So you want version 1.1, version 1.2. So the version history, what's new in this version. You want the here's something that I added only recently, or I was saying last year, was confidentiality, right? That was something that would always bother me, thinking, what if they're just going to take this proposal that I've done, put all this work into it, send it to somebody else? So put confidential and all that stuff in it. Does it help? I don't know, but put the confidentiality, why it's confidential. And then you have the summary. So X and X client has approached Overpass because they want to build a such and such application, right? Overpass proposes doing a solution based on Flutter and Firebase and whatever, our requirements and everything are below. And then there's a section on requirements saying it has to be supported on iOS 8 and above, and Android 6 and above, and or if it's a web-based application, we are only going to support the most recent browsers. So you don't want anybody rolling out with IE6 and saying it's not working for me. So you want to be clear about that. So we're going to test on these browsers. It should still work on other browsers, but these are the ones that we're focusing on, right? And so like if something comes out like that's that's out of the scope. So you need to like define that, right? And then I usually have like an architecture section, which is like the it's like the same diagram I always draw, which is database at the top, API, Android, iPhone, all the lines linking. Maybe there's an admin site off to the end, whatever that, and then I'll have flowcharts and diagrams and wireframes, and then at the end, and then I'll have like an artist mock-up. So that's something that just I do because I have a designer that could do it, and just to show that we're doing it. And then the price. So, and the price is at the end, and it's kind of like some people just skip straight to the price. That's why I wanted to have that designer mock-up right before that. And just really, it is, if you're going to charge a lot, you have to show that you're putting in the work. So I will spend 3 or 4 hours on a proposal, sometimes even more, and I'll get my designer to do stuff. And but it has to look like we're professional, and that's the one bit of advice I could give you there. YS6425, yo mama, Fist 007, yo mama. Gregor says, hello Eric, I was wondering, when you make apps for your clients with data being stored on a server, do you provide them with your server and charge them a monthly fee, or do you put it on their server? My preference is to put it on their server, because usually what we'll do is we'll do our own server, and it's usually cloud-based. Like we use Amazon RDS for MySQL, or use Azure for SQL Server. So the goal for me is always, like, I want them to be able to take over that database if they need to, right? I don't. We've had that in the past. We have some. Actually, no, we do have some where we're managing the server, but really all it is like we might have some Heroku instances that are running, and I'm paying for those, and I just need to invoice. And I always forget to invoice for them. So we'll invoice the client for those, and so it's kind of like we're the middleman where we pay for it. But no, it might be a good idea. It might be something good to do, Gregor, because like I don't have a lot of recurring revenue. Everything's project based, which is why I'm always stressed, always looking for new clients, always trying to do loads of things at once. But yeah, no, we don't do any of that kind of stuff. Not that's personally, but I totally get that some people do, and it depends on the support levels. Like if they want you to, like sometimes they just want you to just build it, and they already have developers and they already have stuff, so. Their developers can support that kind of stuff. Give them the code, give them they have access to the database, all that kind of stuff. And sometimes they want you to support it. And if we're going to support it, then we need to have full access to it and everything. So usually it's AWS or what I don't want to be doing is restarting servers. Andrew Davies says ad sucks, but we need to eat. Dude, man, gotta eat. That's right. Oh wait, where am I? Sorry, I lost my place. Boris Legovic says, do you trust your overboard devs, overseas devs, or do you believe they are not working on 100%? So we do fixed price work. So, well, that depends. So we've done. So some things we do based on time. So like. My people in the Philippines, they're done based on time, and sometimes I will, if I don't think they're doing it 100%, then I won't worry about it. It's kind of one of those things where I used to have hub staff, and I used to do the screenshot thing that went through, and it just felt really creepy. I hated doing it. I felt like if I was working for me, I wouldn't want to work for me, because like it was like, are you working? You say you're working and you're not working, whatever. And it's like, it's another thing, like if I had people coming into the office, like it would be like, are you working? Are you actually working while you're here? Are you actually doing what you're supposed to do? You were late, all that kind of stuff. So eventually I'm kind of a bit more relaxed about it. It's like, as long as you're producing what I think should be a realistic, like timescales for producing something. I think like if there's a bit of code that's gonna be done, I think it should take like 2 or 3 days, and they take 2 or 3 days. I think, okay, well, that sounds like it's right. They do the daily summary, so I can check the daily summary, and the daily summary will show me, what they've been working on through the day, and I can look through that thing. That looks like, that probably would have taken me 8 hours, so maybe it would take me 6 hours, or maybe it would take me 9 hours, but it's around about that, right? And it's because that, that whole thing, and whereas before it was like making sure that if I'm paying you for 8 hours work, I want 8 hours work done, right? Because it's, I guess, stupid metric anyway. Like, if I was reading something that said, like, if you were if you worked someplace you're paid by the hour, and you went to someplace and you were you were more efficient, you worked faster than everybody else, you'd still get paid the same amount, and they would still expect you to do more, right? They still expect you. They wouldn't say, oh, you finished everything, go home after 6 hours, and we'll pay you. No, they'll still say, keep doing it, right? And it's not like we're not working a factory line. We're producing things. It's not like if I'm saying you got to man the phones or you got to do that stuff. So I'm not so worried about that as I used to be. YSW 6425 says you need to do tea time to become British. I think I'm not sure if I become, like, if I got British citizenship, if I'd have to give up my American citizenship. And I was in the army and everything. It's kind of my identity. Every time I go someplace, people hear the accent and it's all the conversations about being American, and it's like, it would just be, that's one of the reasons why I haven't done it. So, Bizwajit, hey Eric, hey, how's it going, Bizwajit? Loannis Volumiotis, excellent name, says, this week I released my first iOS app and got approved in like 10 hours since I submitted it for review. Google Play, on the other hand, takes 5 hours to get update live. Tables have turned. Yeah, I know. Yao Johnny says, thank you for answering the question. You're the best. Thanks, Yao Johnny. YS6425 says, does it say app developer? Oh, app developer on the app that we're looking at. Yeah, that would be something. Limitu says, for German speakers, bug Jaeger means hunter. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, cool. So we're talking about that one. Yao Johnny says, one last question. I didn't know whether this question had been asked before. Have you used the app any new ASO keyword? Did you know the ranking for the same keyword is not the same as old and new? No, is there a new one? Oh, let's go back. Share the screen. Dude, I didn't even notice that. Every week on the live stream we look at that. When did that come in? I have not been asked that question. Let's check this out. ASO keywords. Please don't be paid. Please don't be paid. Ooh, all right. Ooh, let's have a look at this. Keywords ASO and ASO keywords. There's no confusion there, is there? So we've got it looks to do about the same. So competitor analysis, keyword opportunities. So that would be the paid version stuff. Oh, okay. When did they introduce this? Was it there last week when we did? Because I know I look at this all the time, and I'm just like, I go straight to keywords, ASO. I don't know if it's different or not. Let's have a look. So I think one weird thing is this is in keyword rank order, and this by default is going to okay, here we go. So you can add more keywords separated by comma. Cool. Fast boot. So mobile app, mobile ADB tool. So yeah, it looks about the same. Search result 250, keyword opportunity score. So yeah, it looks about the same. But no, I'll look at that next time. Thanks very much for that. Thank you very much. Take a look at that one next time. Yeah, Johnny. BD Milan says, I released my 2 apps. It worked on my phone version 7.0.1, but other phone version 5.0.1 and 6 not work. I don't know why. API 15. Do you get anything in the stack trace? I think it's difficult to know. I can't tell by that just what it could be. I think it's one of those things. Just troubleshoot. Like you're a detective now. You got to go through and look for clues. You got to look in the stack trace. Look in the if you have the actual physical phone, go into ADB Logcat and run that thing and find out what's going on and find out what the words actually are. Yeah. So. Jay Lee says, how would you go about marketing a new app? So for me, for me, if I was going to go about marketing a new app, I would start off early, trying to find out, who would my target users be? So I would be, because my whole thing is I want to, since I've released my last app, which has been a while, and I've just been doing updates, I talked to a few developers who are doing paid apps. So like on iOS, stuff has cost like $10, a $10 app, and they're doing really well. Like there's no free version of the app, even though I always recommend doing a free version. So you get people in, you get more traffic, all that kind of stuff, especially if you do ads and in-app purchases. Go free with that. But there's a few that I've seen them do paid applications, and they're not so much focused on search. They're focused on ads. So going on Facebook and be able to find their target users and being able to put really good ads out there to get people to go in there and actually make that purchase. And that would be something that's something I really want to do. Actually have this a paid app, but this time, the ads would have to be they would have to be like. So if you spend if you made $10 with an app, that would have to be. Can you guys still hear me? So if you made $10 with an app, and you could spend up to $8 on the ad. So you're talking about for the acquisition. So you have that flexible model there, and that's something that I would like to go through because I worry about the search rankings too, right? Just going through and doing that, but at the same time, you should still doing the search rankings. You should still be doing the keyword optimization. You should make sure you're so step 1 of the user acquisition report is a store page listing. So you need to make sure that people actually find that when they're searching for it. So and if you go through advertising, you can bypass that part altogether and just look at store page listing because you're paying for the traffic to that. But then you have to make sure that they're actually converting and make sure you get that number up so your screenshots look good and all that stuff. It's not really, I mean, it's kind of an open question. I don't know if that makes sense. Johnny says, such as weather is demand in the market. Okay. Muhammad Awai says, Hi, every time I integrate AdMob into my app, it blocks it within 5 days to invalid traffic. I only have one interstitial and one banner. Everything is placed right. I have read the policy like 100 times. That's really strange. Have you, so every time you integrate AdMob into my app, it blocks it within 5 days to invalid traffic. Why would it get invalid traffic? Is it possible? That's weird. I think you might have to contact AdMob about that. I'm trying to think what could cause invalid traffic. It's not invalid clicks, is it? Because then then you'd really be in trouble. But if it's invalid traffic, trying to think if you're loading it in the background and never displaying it, maybe. Yeah, I would check on that. I mean, yeah. Rodrigo's here. He says everybody hit like. Yeah, everybody smash that like button and say yo mama in the comments because it makes me laugh. It makes a smile to my face. SOURDES3L says, hey Eric, good to see you. Good to see you too. Rodrigo Grassa says, one of these days need to ask Eric to analyze my app. It's been going down and down constantly. Yeah, we can have a look at that. Let's see. David G says, and Eric, congrats to all your success. It's really inspired to see one of us break out of the engineering bonds. Lol. I don't know if it's David G. Do I know you? Do I know you, David? I don't know if it's that much success. Let's see. Yao Johnny says, welcome. There's a message up here that says the old keyword ASO will be replaced with the new keyword ASO. Oh yeah, I've seen that every week, and I've just been like, click on that stuff. Let's see. David G says, hope you could identify the issue and turn it around. Moran Deer says, yo mama. Damn right. Yo mama. Exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Yo mama. So hey, I think we got to the end of all the questions. David G says, lol, I've been around a bit. I've been around before, but a bit. No, I was wondering like if I worked at a contract with you before or something like that. I was trying to think, David G. So anyway, let's do one more. We'll do one more. Yeah, already 1 hour. We're getting more efficient. I think we're getting more efficient. I think less rambling. Let me ask you, Fist77, don't ask me a question. So let's do one last thing. How does one go about pricing an app for a client? What I would do is think about how long it's going to take you to do it, and then think about everything that could go wrong. Because think of how long it's going to take you to do it, and then smack yourself in the face because you were thinking about charging that. Because something's gonna go wrong. So and you need to have some sort of margin in place because there's going to be some scope creep. There's going to be something that comes up that you're not going to appreciate. You might need to hire another developer to come in and work on it with you. You might need other kind of stuff. So you don't want to go crazy. It's like trying to think. You want it to be fair to the client and fair to you, and that's a tight line, right? Like when you're giving a price, you're always thinking, I don't want to price this out of this job, right? At the same time, I definitely don't want to be in a situation where I underprice us for this job. So we're stuck doing this, and and it's like I'm making like less than minimum wage just trying to get this thing done, and that happens from time to time. So yeah, I think that's really a case of I mean that's one of the hard things about pricing. But yeah, and so some people will say. And again, sometimes, every so often, people go, "Well, obviously, this is a $200,000 job, right?" And you just go with some bravado. And I've never charged anything like that. I think the biggest quote I've ever done was around 40,000. But that's just And to me, it seemed like a lot. But like, if I had like staff, it would have been like not even enough. I would have been like, "Oh, we need to keep the marketing going, and we need to keep all this stuff going." So. It depends. So you could like compete with a lot of your competitors that way. Rodrigo said, okay, let's do it. Instagram Squares, previously known as Insta Squares, package Insta Squares. Okay, we're gonna look at Rodrigo's app here, and then we're gonna go after we answer these other questions. Oh yeah, because I gotta go get it's takeaway night. It's not gonna be pizza tonight. It's gonna be fish and chips. Let's see, Instagram instant squares. 31 Studio. Ooh. It's instant squares. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Instant Squares, your game show by Rodrigo. Let's see. Instant Squares image splitter. Lets you split pictures into multiple squares and directly into Instagram into one big square banner carousel Instagram followers. Easy to make 3x3 squares or Instagram banner. Take your Instagram to the next level by creating amazing Instagram grid. Increase your followers. Select an image. Cool. So we got that. So you can just do that. Choose image, follow, emoji friends. Are you actually advertising this on Instagram? Because that might be something that would really, by creating a video, because you know your audience is going to be people who are. Well, I'd imagine your audience, like so. This is just what I think, Rodrigo. Like I would think that this icon could be a little bit more like someone who fancies themselves as they want to be an influencer. They want to be an Instagram influencer, and they're putting out all the stories and they're doing all the stuff, and then they're scrolling through their Instagram feed and they see an ad for Instant Squares image splitter. You know, being able to have your Instagram be unique because you're using this new tool, like. And that's something that I think you could benefit a lot from with ads. But that would be if your in-app purchases can. There's no in-app purchases, so yeah, maybe it's not. Maybe you can't do that. Hang on. Let's go look at your other apps here. Do you have a paid version? Dad jokes. Okay. Oh, is this not the... Hang on a second. What are you saying here, Rodrigo? You're saying, I changed the icon. That's not the latest one. Same with the name. Oh, is it possible that you're... So, is it possible you changed it for one location and not the others? Yeah, so have a look. So maybe I'm looking at the wrong one. Oh, we got photo split. We got other ones. Oh, we got other ones here too. So let's go back to Fist007 says, do you allow clients to pay progressively after the development of the project? Yeah, we do like I try to keep it to 50% up front, 50% at the end. Now that's kind of becoming problematic, especially as the projects are getting bigger, because that's like a huge chunk of money, and some of them are like, we want to do something like 25% or before, but I was always 25% at the beginning, 25% after development, and 50% at go live. And that go live, that would like hardly ever happen. Some of the companies I've been working with in India, they do like 30, 40, 30, or they'll do something where the final payment is actually smaller, because that's the one that, you know, if they're going to delay any, they're like, it's live, you know, they're like, you know, they're not in a hurry to get it done, whereas before that, they're hurry to get those apps live. So. And do you have some non-paying clients? I do. That is a problem from time to time. That's one of the things I'm scared of the most. But like anybody who does any client work is afraid that they're not going to get paid. Yeah. Sometimes it was just, I did have one client where it was the changes and everything was just so much that it got to the point where it's like, I need another payment in between, because, you know, we did 25% up front, and we had all these changes come through. So I thought, I need the second 25% so that we could pay the developers and all this stuff and finish off this project. And they refused to, because they said, no, it's not until it's completely done. And in the end, I had to leave that project. It was just, it was bad. I lost thousands, tens of thousands on that project. It was nasty, right? I don't, you know, so yeah, always be careful. Choose your clients wisely. You walk away from anything that you think you don't feel comfortable with. You know, you don't want to get in an adversarial situation where you're like you don't trust each other. You want to make sure you trust them in the beginning because you know, it's just, you know, because nobody, like when I have to pay developers, right? I don't like it when they think I'm not going to pay. I don't like it when I get accused of being a non-payer because I always pay, right? But it might be a bit like I might be like, no, I need you to get this fixed first. I need this to be working, right? And that's a lot of so you don't want to be in a situation where you're making the clients feel like they're whatever cheating you or whatever, because most of the time they're not. Let's see. Rodrigo says, please take a look at App Annie to see why it has less downloads. Okay, sorry about that. I'm just go back to instant squares. Oh, instant squares. Instant. You need a jingle. Hey, Rodrigo, if you need a jingle, you can hire me. Instant squares. Oh. Oh. Well, there's a lot with the same name. Okay. We'll look at the new ASO keyword section. Let's look at the United States. I guess we could do, let's do United States. Ooh, I see something there dropping. What's that? Instant photos. Ooh. Could that be it? So, let's see. Oh, so let's look at United States. Sorry. It's a square photo. Instagram cut. So let's have a look, see if there's anything that was ranking here better before. So split pics is on the rise, which is good. It dropped again to, well, 97. It's actually, wow. So you're ranking well for 16 squares, Instagram cut, split image. Split image you're doing pretty well on. What would somebody be searching for on this? I don't see anything. When I looked at the UK one, that was what looked really weird. Because you saw that one just drop. Okay, so this new chart is a bit... so instant photos. So it started to appear on November 20th at instant photos at 16, and then it dropped to number 171, then it jumped back up to 46. So yeah, oh yeah, we have the changes here. So app version, upgraded app version, app icon changed. Okay, so yeah, you may have only changed the one language. That might have been what it was, Rodrigo. Let's see, it's the cache. I don't think it was a cache. I've never looked at it before. Fist 007. So it shouldn't be my browser cache. Let's see. Yao Johnny has to go. Everybody, Yao Johnny has to go. I think it's time we wrap things up. Once Yao Johnny's gone, we're not. There's no reason going on. Okay, last one. Coder Python. That's the last question we're gonna answer, and then we're gonna go get fish and chips. I'm gonna go get fish and chips. You guys can go get it wherever you guys want. But unless you guys want to meet me at the chip shop, and I'm buying. So, but you got to find it. Coder Python says, "Hey Eric, I published my new app, Fiverr Seller Calculator for mobile apps. I wanted your feedback on whether I should make it free with ads or keep it paid." Let's have a look. So Fiverr Seller Calculator. I think. If you were to do, let's have a look. Fiverr. Sorry, how do you spell Fiverr? Fiverr Seller. So go screen again. Fiverr Seller Calculator. MLA apps. Here we go. Oh, so Very Fiverr seller calculator. Okay, I think you should have a free version, just because it doesn't. It looks very simple. Here, because we have the 2 screenshots. We got profit Fiverr seller calculator 59 cents. But like, if it's something you get people to use a lot, then I think ads would really help, or some sort of in-app purchases. Because right now, or if you could give them something for the free version, amount I want to charge, amount profit. So if it's just a calculator, yeah, I think it's I would go free on this one, just because I think it's something you need to build out, and so if you could get some traffic to it and build it out, I think at the moment to me it doesn't look like it has enough in it to like, if I was making the purchase, it doesn't have enough in it to actually make the purchase. Let's go back to look at some of the competitors. Seller calculator for Fiverr. So you look at this one, it's got this is like the same thing, right? But they've got all these different the nicer looking screenshots. They've got 1 star. Well, they've got 10 1-star ratings, so don't worry about them. 500 plus in-app products. So yeah, I think you release it as free. Try to get some traffic into it, because and yeah, I mean, what do the rest of you guys think there? And Matthew Creek asked a very good question. That's what I was wondering. Is it legal to have an app with the same name as another? I think I don't know. I'm surprised that there's so many that have Fiverr in the name too, Matthew. I'm wondering whether or not it's just because Fiverr hasn't cracked down on those. Because I know other apps that have been removed because they have that. Even like this one. Look at this. Fiverr gig ranking assistant. Like, that's something that if I was Fiverr, I would be, you know what, that looks way, way, way too much like our icon. Yeah, so obviously it's something that they're able to get away with. I think it's probably up to Fiverr to go through and get those removed, rather than. But yeah, I think that's way too close copyright wise. Okay, so Fist007 says pizza time. Yes, fish and chips time. The icon was set per language in a few ones. I just fixed it. Cool. Fish and chips. Yeah. So I think it'll probably Rodrigo. Let's have a look at that one again next week. Let's see. Fist007 says, how's British food, Eric? You know what? I've always heard about British food being bland and everything like that, but I like it. I like British food. Putting vinegar on the chips. Mwah. Mayonnaise on the chips. Fries. Sorry, I say chips, fries. Putting vinegar on fries. Mwah. I love it. That's reason enough to move here or to visit. So anyway, let's see. And that's it. So Coder Python maybe should add some padding inside the text field. Yeah, I think it's. I agree with that. And you should always offer a free version of your app. Says Appavelli. I agree with that too. I think it's have a free version. You can have a free version and a paid version, but have in-app purchases in that free version. So anyway, everybody, thank you very much for joining us on. Thanks, Fist007 says I've become officially Brit. Thanks everybody for joining us on the live stream this week. I'm going to go get fish and chips, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be greasy. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be fattening. I'm going to sit in a food coma afterwards on the couch, and I'm just going to wipe the grease from my chin. It's going to be... I don't know why I'm enjoying that so much. Thanks everybody for joining the live streams. Thanks for liking, subscribing. Thanks for saying your mama in the comments. And I'll talk to you guys again next week. And we have the Overpass Insights video out tomorrow too. All right, talk to you guys later. Thanks.